Hi, everyone. Uh, Mr. Consul Lee, Mr. Deputy Consul General Huerta, dear participants and speakers, chers participants et panélistes, queridos participantes y panelistas, welcome to our webinar as part of Business in Tandem, an initiative from the City of Montreal in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, seeking to expand connections with other cities worldwide. Today's topic is business opportunities between companies in Guadalajara and Montreal with a focus on cultural and creative industries. My name is Reina Obregon. I am Project Manager, International Market Development at the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, and I am delighted to host this webinar with you today. I would like to take a moment to thank the partners who made this event possible, starting with the City of Montreal, in association with the Government of Jalisco, Creativa Guadalajara, the World Trade Center Guadalajara, and Nixon Quebec as promoting partners. I want to thank also for their collaboration, the Consulate General of Mexico in Montreal, the Consulate of Canada in Guadalajara, and the Quebec General Delegation in Mexico, as well as the Canada Economic Development for Quebec regions for its ongoing support in all our international activities. If you have any questions for our panelists, they will be addressed at the end of each section. You can write them via the chat or raise your hand. You will have 5 minutes after each session. And also there is an ongoing survey that we invite you to fill in. If you would like to watch the again, we will make the recording available on the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal website. The webinar will be followed by a 15-minute networking session at the end. Without further ado, now I would like to invite for the welcoming remarks, Valérie Poulin, Director of Economic Intelligence and International Outreach at the City of Montreal. Valérie, the floor is all yours.
Merci, Rena. Bonjour, bonjour à tous et à tous. Buenos días a todo. Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be with you today at this edition of Business in Tandem event series, which is a joint initiative of the City of Montreal and the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal. And it's made possible with the support of, obviously, our key partner in Quebec and in Mexico. This edition of Business in Tandem will focus on a key sector for our two cities, the cultural and creative industries, that I'll call CCI for the rest of this introduction. We have brought together key players in this sector who will introduce you to their respective ecosystem and present business and collaboration opportunities in the two cities. I would like to thank the different panelists and experts who made possible the organization of this activity and who will present some interesting content. The CCI sector is of strategic importance of Greater Montreal. As you know, it is a leading economic sector of the center of our creative talents. It contributes to the vitality of our city. It allows an infusion of excitement in our neighborhoods and public spaces, and it contributes to Montreal's international reputation. Finally, it's the real driver of tourist attraction and economic benefits. Mexico is a leading economic partner for Quebec, the fourth in the world, according to figures from the Quebec Ministry of Finance. With this activity this morning, Montreal and Guadalajara demonstrate a high interest in boosting their international outreach in key industries for our economies. In Montreal, we are eager to continue exploring the opportunities that Guadalajara has to offer, and so more after our successful trade mission in February 2023 in your beautiful city. Finally, I would like to highlight the presence this morning of representatives of the Délégation Générale de Québec and Mexico, and sorry for my Portugal, whose mission is to promote Quebec's interest among Mexican political institutions, as well as in the sector of the economy, education, culture, immigration, and other sectors with whom we look forward to strengthening our collaboration. To conclude, to you all, I wish you a very pleasant and obviously very productive event.
Thank you, Valérie. Now, Paul Thomas Lacroix, Director of the Economic Service at the General Delegation of Quebec in Mexico for Investment Quebec in Montreal International. I'll give you the floor.
All good. Merci beaucoup, Reina. Merci beaucoup, Valérie, pour ton mot d'introduction. Muy buenos días a todos y todas. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm Paul Thomas Lacroix. I'm Director of Economic Affairs for Invest Quebec, based here at the Quebec General Delegation in Mexico. I sure want to thank the City of Montreal and the Montreal Chamber of Commerce for this great initiative, and also the invitation for us to welcome you all this morning. First of all, the Quebec office in Mexico has been here since almost 45 years ago. We're the third largest office in the world, the third largest Quebec representation in the world out of 34 offices in the world. So Mexico, as Valérie mentioned, is a trade partner of the highest importance, and that's why the Quebec representation is the third largest of its importance here in Mexico. I also want to welcome all the partners here today from Guadalajara, Jalisco, from Quebec. I know you guys are many on the line this morning, and you're at the right place at the right time, because this is a privilege to welcome a lot of all the key speakers that we have this morning, talking about the potential for doing business between Guadalajara and Montreal. And I can assure you that this has been going on for many years. Like Valérie mentioned, we had the privilege to welcome the Mayor of Montreal, the City of Montreal, and the Chamber of Commerce last year, and we organized several meetings in Guadalajara last year, which were very successful. So this initiative is continuing those efforts that were built in the past. I'd like to mention also that the Quebec government here in Mexico have established in the past something very unique here in Mexico, and it's called the Quebec Working Group, which really promotes the economic, the educational, cultural, and scientific development between Quebec and Jalisco. And it's the only state that we have this working group. It's only with Jalisco, and I think it shows the importance and all the potential for innovation and for collaboration between Jalisco, Guadalajara, Montreal, and Quebec as a whole. Also, just for your information, there are close to 700 festivals in Mexico. So I think, again, you're at the right place at the right time to discuss opportunities in terms of cultural and creative industries. So I'll stop there, and I wish you guys a great event, and I'll stay for any questions down the road. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde.
Thank you so much, Paul Thomas. Now is the time for Carlos Velasquez, General Coordinator of Ministry of Innovation, Science, and Technology of the state of Jalisco. The floor is all yours, Carlos.
Thank you very much, Reina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. In the name of the government of Jalisco, I'd like to thank the Office of Quebec, the Canadian Consulate in Guadalajara, the Chamber of Commerce, and also the people in Guadalajara that are very eager to show this audience the experience of doing business in Guadalajara, especially in this creative industries sector. This sector has been very important for us because we understand that the talent that we have grown during years it's very important, and we have been growing this industry for a few years now, and you'll see with our speakers and with the people that are showing their experiences today how important it is for us. So thank you very much in the name of the government, and let's have a great webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for your words, and thank you, Valeria, again. Thank you, Paul Thomas. Now I would like to invite our first group from Guadalajara to give us an overview of cultural and creative industries in Guadalajara. The session will be followed by 5 minutes of question period. Let's start with Francisco Medina Gomez, General Director of the State of Science and Technology of Jalisco. Francisco, the floor is all yours. Francisco?
Do you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. An apology for entering late. I'm going to share with you the presentation. If I find it. Let's see, where is it? Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm going to talk to you about, well, I mean, the theme of the webinar is opportunities, and basically that's what I'm going to, that's where I'm going to focus. Our creative industry ecosystem, these are data, well, official data. The problem with Mexico is that the current federal government has not issued sort of more up-to-date information. And obviously we have our own information, but most of this is like a mixture of both official and our own information, which is considered unofficial by the federal government. But they used to be, I mean, this data are from beginning of this administration. That would be 12-19, more or less, before the pandemic. At least on the order of 1,700 digital creative companies registered in Jalisco. And most of them, I mean, it's a very large majority, were in the field of advertising, animation, and marketing, which is like a very large group. And then there was the group of software developers, and that's really our main claim to fame as a region. In general, we are considered to be the largest hub of IT and IT-related services in the whole country. About 1 out of every 4 code lines written in Mexico is written here in Jalisco, so that would be sort of our main, our core competence, software development. Then 181 radio, television, and cinema, and 26 video game studios. This has changed over the years, and I think we're now closer to 50 video game studios. But I guess that in general, the ratios have been more or less kept in the same order. Now, what we do know is that according to the last census, which is also 2019, the new census is underway. It's 2024, the economic census. We have 90 undergrad programs and 4 postgrad programs, so that would be 94 in all. And that means that we have over 2,000 graduates at the graduate level and 37 at the postgraduate level per year. And according also to this information, the gross production is in the order of $324 million, and the added value is pretty significant. It's 47%. The total employment, I mean, and this is also an estimate, is in the order of 6,700 people in all. But you can see here that we have the academia, and these are just some of the names. I mean, obviously it's not comprehensive. Industry and government. And the way we work in Jalisco is basically through the triple helix model, where academia, industry, and government work side by side. Now, we have, these are the main companies, and some of them are present today, that have been working basically on animation, video games, and VFX. VFX has become also important. And in terms of value added, the largest value added would be in VFX and video games. Now, the way we look at the industry, it's maybe it's not very conventional, but we look at like 2 sectors. We have the creators and we have the facilitators. The creators are the entities that create interactive media, and the facilitators, the entities focusing on enabling media to be manipulated in order to facilitate the delivery to final users. Now, this The main idea here is that we focus on both creators and facilitators, which is not very usual in the sense that most of our industry would be on the side of facilitators. Now, the content creators here, we would focus on interactive entertainment, which is video game development. That's very, very strong in Guadalajara. Idea creation, storyboarding. You find obviously storyboarding also on the side of animation. Design, graphic and sound creation, and interactive narrative. Then e-learning and education, design and development of corporate training, education media, higher education, and training simulators. Simulators are a very big thing here in Guadalajara, and because of the close relationship with the IT sector, and obviously other digital content creation. Now, we in the social, cultural, and arts, this is not very much our area of expertise at the State Council of Science and Technology, but social networking and original interactive art design and development, and then animation, idea creation, scripts, storyboards, graphic creation, and audio creation. And then in information and references, content creation for the web, advertisement and promotion, and mobile also. Now, facilitators, basically, it's software development, and this is where, again, we're very, very strong. Software design and development and software publishing, digital compression technologies, both for audio and video, internet applications, graphic rendering programs, graphics, and Java type applets, VFX, as I mentioned before, design and development, interactive television, production services and application platforms, and others, digital content creation and post-production. And I'm going to emphasize a lot post-production later on. Now, our main goal as such, and this is the State Council of Science, Technology, and Innovation, and we are part of the Ministry of Innovation, Science, and Technology. This is unusual as well because we are not so much in the economic development sector or in the cultural sector, but we look at this from the point of view of talent. And so that's our main emphasis is really talent. And we try to foster competitiveness in the creative industries. We give grants, the grants supporting individual companies, industrial and civil society associations, higher education institutions, and research centers. To do what? To achieve strengthening technological capabilities, offering linkages between industry and academia for the development of products and services, and then this leads to innovation in strategic sectors. The good news is that this is one of our prioritary sectors, and we have supported in the last 5 years 48 projects. Now, the total budget allocated, we did convert this to US dollars, and this is important in terms of not only the state of Jalisco, but in the whole of Mexico. This gives you an idea of the amount of projects and the amount of grants and subsidies given to the industry.
Dr. Medina, I'm so sorry, just to let you know that you have 1 minute left.
Oh, okay.
If you can make it faster. Thank you.
Sure. The blue line is what we support, and then the yellow line are the concurrent funds. And so you can see here that we have invested $3.1 million over the years, which is more than the rest of the country put together. In the case of Pinocchio, I'm not going to talk more about Pinocchio because we have a special invite from the group that actually led this. But this was done also through, this was facilitated through a grant from the council, which enabled the people that participated in Pinocchio to train in record time the extraordinarily gifted crew that participated in Pinocchio. Now, this is the film market in Mexico, and as you can see, there is the data up to the year 2018, that's pre-pandemic. And the growth, this is very significant because more or less the same growth as we're witnessing today, at 23% per annum. in terms of dollars in the case of Mexico as compared to the US. We are a very large market. And here, the most important part is the post-production. We have the post-production is about 20%, which means that that's where we can be more and more competitive. This post-production is the fastest growing budget item in the industry, and costs can be significantly lower here than they would be obviously in the US or Canada. And it has become, at least in our vision, has become a manufacturing activity, and we are the strategic place for nearshore to Hollywood. So we are an expert in nearshore operations. And the big advantage is that it takes a very little time to develop talent in the creative industries. It's not like in electronic engineering or software engineering where it takes longer, but in creative industries, it's faster, and we do have a large pool of talent available. So this is the opportunity size. We think it's about 2.6 billion American billion dollars, and that's a good amount to 70,000 jobs if we can capture at least a part of that nearshore opportunity in terms of post-production. So this is a presentation, and I'll be around if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these words and for the valuable information that you have shared. Now is the time for Laura Maceira, President of Consejo Promotor de Innovación y Diseño. The floor is all yours, Laura.
Thank you. So, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Noemi Pisano, who had an emergency. And I'm glad to represent the Consejo Promotor de Innovación y Diseño. Is my screen sharing already?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Well, I would like to talk to you about the collaboration that we have in the creative industries and the opportunities we think we could work with Quebec companies looking to come to Mexico and find the best way to do so. At the Consejo Promotor, we are a bounding institution, non-profit organization that could help you integrate with private initiative, academic, and government. That's our focus. We have three main axes of action about training, internationalization, and project manager to help you do internationalization services about soft landing, strategic links, joint ventures, and talent management. That's our main focus. Now, I'd like to share some information on the context or conditions for doing business with the creative economy. Dr. Medina has shared something that is focused on the digital economy, but we think creative industries, it's larger and richer here in Guadalajara. And sometimes because we have the UNESCO designation, we also integrate other architecture, design that go beyond digital specifically. Mexico is the fourth largest supplier of cultural and creative products to Canada. Imports from Mexico in 2018 were significant, with the visual arts subsector being the most relevant, followed by audiovisual and interactive media. In contrast, Canada exports to Mexico in 2018 were even greater, with the most relevant sectors being audiovisual services and interactive media. Unfortunately, we don't have updated that data since ProMexico has been dissolved. However, considering the international cooperation funds between Mexico and Canada, as well as Jalisco and Quebec specifically, and the fact that we are here today, we can see that the relationship in terms of creative economy is increasingly close. Now let's focus on Jalisco and the opportunities here. We are the most relevant hub in creative industry. We currently have 118 academic programs ranging from bachelor's degree to doctorates, from which 5,800 students graduate per year. Dr. Medina mentioned probably about 98 programs, but it did not include other creative industries beyond digital. These programs train us to thousands of students, resulting in prepared talent for various areas. It also works recognizing that we currently lack talent on technical areas of fieldwork and specialized productions such as animation and media arts. We think we could bond and make collaboration projects, not only look at Jalisco as a place to find resources, but a place to make business in partnerships. Regarding legislation in 2022, the Economic Development Law of the state of Jalisco was reformed to include the creative industries as a priority circuit of the economy. And that was a project that we pushed from the council and all the society. We also have a filming law that we surely discuss later. And the state of the agency for the creative industries operates Jalisco. The promotion of Guadalajara as a creative city designated by UNESCO. The highlights of the importance of the creative industry is focus on Jalisco public policies, encourage them to promote them. We have some opportunities as well to share about success stories of Canada and Mexico. We have the Music Festival that co-produces an annual edition in Mexico with a Mexican agency. Massive Art, a Canadian art production agency based in Montreal, established a representative office in Mexico to collaborate with architects, developers, designers, and emerging talents to create artistic events, design architecture, commission works of art, and cultural programs. We can also talk about Fil Americas, that was announced in the result of alliance between Quebec and the company of textile sector, and highlight the partnership between Vidanta, a Mexican company focused on tourist real estate, and Cirque du Soleil, which created a permanent Cirque du Soleil show in one of the developments. During the last trade mission, many entertainment and music companies sold the hosts and shows directly at venues without finalizing anything yet. But we think we could be partnerships between creative industries to go together and make promotion to local venues and festivals. They usually do not buy, but they will rent. So you need to count with a producer. According to the Cultural Information System, Mexico has 638 active festivals offering vast opportunities for commercial alliances that allow us to receive and do business together. I think the main opportunity is to bring projects together, could be nonprofit, but establish a bond of trust and get to understand each other's cultures. And there, if that's settled, we have many opportunities to do business together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Laura, for this valuable information. And now is the time for Jorge Rigen, Director of Filma Jalisco, to take the floor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Jorge Rigen. I'm the director of Filma Jalisco, which is the film commission of the state, and also the name of the public policy we launched last year. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to see a very fast overview of the things we're doing here in Jalisco. So if everyone can see the presentation, why Jalisco? Well, the first reason is we have a public policy, what I was just talking about, and it's based in 4 pillars. The first one, and the one that is working beautifully right now is the Fondo Filma, is the fund that we have to give a stimulus to the productions that come here to Jalisco. The other pillar is called Filma Academy, and basically it's the effort we're doing to train all the people we need. Of course, Guadalajara has great production crews, but we need more. The productions are increasing here in the States, so we need to train a lot of people. The third pillar is Eventos Filma, and also the policy is supporting big events. That's why for the second year, the Arieles, which are the equivalent of our Mexican Oscar, are going to be held here in Jalisco for the second year. And we're also supporting festivals, of course, in the the Guadalajara Film Festival here in Guadalajara and also in Los Angeles. The fourth pillar, it's called Punto Filma, and it's basically all the effort we do to take care of your productions. Okay, we make it easy. We try to help you in everything we can when you come with your production. We're turning Jalisco into a very friendly production state. We help you with all your license permits. We contact you, we facilitate the locations, and of course, we have our cash rebate. We make it happen here in Jalisco. Basically, what happened between 2022 and 2023 is that we grew up more than 70%, and because of this public policy. As you can see, the amount of production didn't increase really, but the amount of money that came to Jalisco almost doubled. So that's the way we're growing up. And also another fact is that this year we doubled the applications for production looking for locations. So basically the public policy is working, and we're very happy for it. We were talking about the cash rebate. And basically, we offer to give you back up to 40% of all the expenses you do in your production, and up to 20% of what we call logistical services, which are hotels, trains, transportations, whatever. Well, this stimulus is designed for the big industry, but of course we keep a small amount, at 10%, to support all the small productions. This is the results we did last year. We supported 16 projects. Last year, the bag of money was 100 million pesos. This year, it increased to 150. So we hope that things are gonna keep getting better year by year. Well, we are connected. We have connections to many of the most important cities in the world. And of course, we have the direct flight from Montreal. Part of the public policy is that we're gonna offer you all the locations you need. If it's possible, it's gonna be free. That's part of the offering the governor is doing. We're going to facilitate you everything you need, from the desert to the sea. And one thing we're very proud of is our great climate. Right now we're a little hot, but the rain season is almost here, and we can shoot all year long. Well, basically we're 40% less than Los Angeles in the cost and 20% less than Mexico City. So that's another reason to come and shoot in Guadalajara and in Jalisco. We love doing this. We have more than 500 specialized companies ready to catch your projects. And right now we have two very important exponents here in Guadalajara that you're gonna know in a few minutes. One is Franz. He's a great post-producer, and Oscar Ramirez, a great, fantastic producer here in Jalisco. So that's basically our presentation. Thank you very much. I'm ready to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge. And I would like to thank again Francisco, Laura, and Jorge. You have shared relevant tools to all our participants. Now is the time of the question period, so don't be shy. If you haven't written some questions via the chat, you can raise your hand and ask your questions. It's the right time.
Me, can I ask one?
Yes, go ahead, Daniel.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the presentations. I'm very curious. Irregular, our studio here in Montreal, we produce public art that is interactive. It's full of technology. There's software, there's animation, there's a lot of the things that you mentioned that you produce in Jalisco, but nobody mentioned really this sort of segment of the industry that it's really detached from advertising or marketing, really just pure digital arts like that detached from a marketing endeavor, just arts for like Cirque du Soleil type of art, not or museums or public art, but that it's digital. Is there who can I speak to give me information like that? And to give you more specific examples, that I'm sure that in Jalisco there has to be a ton of those. There's a new wave of immersive museums where basically you buy a ticket and you are immersed in these digital worlds, which are very successful, and that's what we do in Irregular. So I'm wondering if anybody has any information or something to say about that.
Maybe this question could be answered by Laura or Dr. Francisco.
Well, there is obviously there's a Ministry of Culture, and they are the ones who are responsible, for example, in the case of museums and digital art. I think that we can put you in touch with the people from the Secretaría de Cultura, the Culture Ministry, and no, obviously they know artists and they support artists. Although obviously the budget here in well, in general in Mexico is not anything compared to the one you have in Quebec. We know Quebec pretty well. We are a sister province state, and usually what happens here is that we have festivals, and obviously the museums, they have their own budget. But we are currently revamping what used to be the Museo del Niño, the Children's Museum, which will be largely sort of interactive. And we also have the planetarium, which is an interactive center of science and technology in Jalisco, and that is also interactive, and that belongs to the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, and we are part of this. So if you have specific questions, for example, in the case of interactive exhibits for the Children's Museum or the planetarium and the Science and Technology Museum, then we would be able to help. But we can put you in touch with the Secretaría de Cultura.
Please put me in contact with them. But I'm curious. So the people that are producing El Museo del Niño or the planetarium, what type of companies are hired for this?
Now, in the case, for example, of the planetarium, we are changing most of our exhibits. It's 11 out of 13, and it's local companies that are actually working on this. And now we have, of the companies that I mentioned, we obviously focus on the science and technology part of this, but we have several small companies that can deal with, for example, in the case of exhibits, and in the case of the Museo del Niño, that's it's a very large consortium, but it's led by the same people that produce the exhibits for the Papalote in Mexico City. It's called Siete Colores. It's a very large consortium.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dr. Medina. I have only a last question, and then we need to move on to the other panel. I see your hand, Alfonso, the one below. There's another question from Edgar Fernandez, and it says, is there any job opportunities for producers in Guadalajara? Maybe Filma Jalisco can help me with this answer.
Sorry, the question was if there's
any job opportunities for producers?
There's a lot of opportunities. As I mentioned, productions are increasing here in Jalisco at a high velocity. So yes, I can't answer right now with who, but of course, if you contact us, we can contact you with other companies so you can find a great job.
Perfect. I will share your contact later. Alfonso, go ahead, and we have 1 minute.
Thank you, Reina. Just very briefly, I actually want to add to what David said, that I'm also interested in that discussion for Francisco. And also, I am also in my part of the Montreal Art Council. I would like to find ways to connect the culture of Montreal with Guadalajara, and I feel there could be like synergies there. So I would be curious of being part of that conversation and also being in contact.
Okay, thank you, Alfonso, for your participation, and thank you, Jorge, Laura, and Francisco. Now is the time to move to the next panel, and I would like to invite the second group, who's gonna give us the overview of cultural and creative industries in Montreal. This session will be followed by 5 minutes of question period. So Jean Dompierre, General Director of Accent Quebec, the floor is all yours. And just to mention before she's gonna talk, she needs to leave right after that. So if you have any question for her before she leaves, don't hesitate to write via the chat, okay? Thank you. Jean?
Thank you, Rina. Hi, everybody. I would like to acknowledge first that I am not, in fact, Isha Botin, who was on the agenda. Isha is busy today, and as Rina mentioned, I have to leave soon after because today is our biggest annual event and I have to attend to it. But yeah, you can reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm really easy to find on the internet, or you can go through Rina, I guess, if you want. So I'm going to share my screen too. That seems to be the trend. Is it working? Yes, I think it is. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Quebec digital creativity ecosystem. But first, I'm going to say a couple of words about what we do here at Accent Quebec, which I'm the general manager of. So Accent Quebec is the association of digital producers of producers of digital experiences here in Quebec. And we have about 200 members. Most of our members are studios. I saw that Daniel Iregui is here. Irregular is a member. And we have lots of other members, obviously. And before I get into what the industry is about, I'll just let you know a bit of what we do so you can figure out who we are. And after that, I'll move on to some info about the industry. And most of the info I'm going to present is from a recent study that we published that we produced in cooperation with the business that's called ABO here, which we love to work. And it's a study about the impact of the industry in the economic sphere. And it talks a lot about exportation too. So I thought it would be of interest to you all. So as the association, we do a lot of representation to institutions and decision makers. We organize some networking events, as for our gala tonight, that's a good example of it. We offer some relevant services in order to support and structure the companies. We do some, we produce and share some business intelligence. We also do some monitoring. We also have, and I'm going to talk a little more about that later because I think it's interesting to you guys. We do support for international activities because it's a very, very important part of our members' reality. And we also produce content, some content for our members in order to support them, but also some content to the larger public in order to promote discoverability and promote our members' work. We are not alone in supporting the ecosystem in Montreal. Of course, obviously, there are markets and major events. You've probably heard of Hub Montreal. You may have heard of C2 Montreal that happened just last week. There are others, obviously. We are blessed with lots of incubators and accelerators all over the province of Quebec, which support innovation here and are really instrumental to the development of the industry. We are very blessed also to work hand in hand with the institutional and government partners. So the City of Montreal is a big partner, the government of Quebec too. And we also work conjointly with complementary associations and organizations, because the part of the industry that we represent at Exen is a small part of digital creativity ecosystem. So we work with the Cinema and Television Council, which is a cluster. I think there's someone who's supposed to talk right after me from there, and also La Guilde du Jeu Vidéo du Québec with video games. So we are complementary and work together in order to make things happen for digital creativity in general. So our famous members, who are they? Well, I think I'll go straight to the examples of what they do, so you can have a good portrait. So digital experiences include all that's written on the screen right now. I would say the heart of the sector, the biggest one, the one with the most possibilities of growth at the moment, is definitely immersive entertainment. So that includes all that's virtual space design, interactive content, virtual or mixed reality, 360 films, virtual reality films, etc. But that's not all. We also have digital installations and projections. So in museum, in public spaces, but also mapping counts as it, and the furniture that's necessary to make all that happen. In a more classical kind of productions, we also represent some video and audio producers. So people who work for non-linear distribution channels like podcasts or web series or stuff like that. And obviously technologies and software that are instrumental for all of this. So that's our members, and it amounts to nearly 300 companies in Quebec. 75% of those are Exen members. Most of them, the vast majority of them, are in Montreal. It's 80%. It's really the beating heart of the digital creativity here in Quebec, but there are some companies elsewhere also in the province, and we try to work with all of them because you know, it's a big ecosystem, and we try to make things happen for all of them. It's good to know that it's a big majority of very small structures among our members and among the companies in general in the sector. 70% have less than 15 employees, so that's very, very small companies. But still, all put together, it amounts to more than 4,000 jobs, salary jobs in Quebec, and lots of freelancers also, so not a thin workforce. If we look at the revenues, so the real economic impact of the sector, it's not negligible, as you can see. So our numbers for this study are from 2022, and it's growing and growing. So nearly $500 million for 2022, and we project that till the end of 2025, it will have grown from 12.7%. As I was mentioning earlier, immersive sector is really booming. It's really the most successful, the most interesting one in economic terms. Obviously, in cultural terms, they are all equally interesting, but there's a lot of prospects in immersion. And one thing I want to mention, as for the dynamic of our companies, most of them nowadays develop their own products and services, but the revenues still don't really show that. So 80% of the companies do in part develop their own products, but 80% of the revenues are still associated with services. So they work with other companies in order to make other creations happen. It's probably bound to change because we are really lucky to have a new financing program that will really sustain innovation and sustain creation. But the services are still a very big part of this economy, and it will never, like, I don't think it will change. Well, never say never, right? But for now, services will stay very important in the dynamic of the enterprises. And if you look who they work for, sorry about, like, I did some grabs because I'm really not a designer, and so the grabs are in French, and sorry about that. I'm going to translate it as best as I can. So corporate clients are very important. Also more traditional cultural venues like museum, art galleries, and art centers. We also work with big major events like festivals and fairs and things like that. and also public administrations, because they often exploit some venues, some places, and so they're a big employer of our members too. Exportation is really at the heart of the strategies of the companies in digital creativity here in Quebec. Why? Well, it's simple. Quebec is quite small, but it's like big geographically, but small in terms of population. And we have lots of talent, lots of projects, lots of creativity. If we want it to be sustained, we have to look elsewhere. So 68% of our tiny, small companies export internationally. 51 of those export without intermediaries, so no distributor. They do it directly with the customers overseas or abroad or whatever. And that amounts to 52% of the revenue of the sector. So that's quite notable, quite important. And that's one of the reasons why EXEN, as the association, puts lots of effort in helping out the companies succeed at exporting. If we look at the main target markets, well, obviously, Europe, the United States, and Canada are top of the list. Why? Well, Canada and the United States, obviously, the geographical proximity is a big help, cultural proximity too, and economically, it makes sense, it's easy. The United States are like more important than Canada because there are more projects, more people, more money there. So that's really the main market for our members. Europe, especially Francophone Europe, is very interesting too. Asia and the Middle East, lots of our members would like to make business there for obvious reasons. It's a little more complicated because it's obviously quite far, and it's also culturally different, but there is a lot of money there, and we were developing lots and lots of projects, but the pandemic happened and it slowed things down a little bit. Now it's getting better. As for Latin America, more and more members are letting us know they're really interested in these markets, especially Mexico and Brazil. So that's why I'm here today to support this conversation. So that's not like something that's there have not been lots of projects yet, but it's really something that we hear more and more, and we want to help out with that. So I'm going to talk about L'Effet Québec, talking about helping out with that, because L'Effet Québec, our export expertise cluster, is really the way we support exportation for our companies. So it was launched in October 2021, not the greatest time for exports, the middle of the pandemic, as you all know. So we wanted to propel a little bit the market back where it was supposed to be. So it's a platform that gives sustainable tools, common tools to companies in Quebec and elsewhere in order to connect, to work together, and to learn about different markets. So the website works as a permanent showcase. So every company that is a member of L'Effet Québec can have its own webpage, share a real demo, pictures, and also contact information for the person responsible for business development. And so it really favors discoverability, and people who want to work with companies in Quebec, develop projects with enterprises in Quebec, can go through L'Effet Québec in order to find a company that suits their needs exactly, and then contact them directly. So that's been much appreciated. And we also work a lot with the delegations of Quebec everywhere, like in the different markets, and they really appreciate the tool too. I'm just going to show you some screen grabs, some in French again. So you have this section in English. Unfortunately, we have some parts of the site in Spanish, but the user experience is not good. We're working on it. It should be better in a couple of months. But for now, I would strongly recommend using the English version in order to avoid frustrations. So you can look at the markets that are interesting for the companies, the sector, and the products or technologies that are used. So you can search exactly for what you're looking for, and then contact directly the company. So that's very good. I also forgot to mention that L'Effet Québec organizes missions, collective missions in various events around the world. And we're going not to Guadalajara, but to Mexico City in October. So maybe that's good to know too. Every company has its own webpage, so it's really beautiful, and it gives a good idea of what they do. So you can take a look before contacting them. And yeah, so that's the I just wanted to put the Spanish one there, but as aforementioned, it's not the best user experience. To conclude, I have two last slides. I wanted to emphasize some of the strengths of Quebec for businesses. So one of the biggest strengths is the fact that we have, it's still not enough, but we have access to public funding programs that propel innovation and helps the industry get better and better and create all kinds of wonderful works. There's been a better time for those, but we still have some incentive tax measures that can be a very good advantage. If we compare to the United States or to other parts of Canada, the operating cost and the production costs are relatively affordable, so that's a big plus. One of the biggest one is maybe the one that's less tangible. It's the creativity and the dynamism of the ecosystem. People all around the world talk about the Montreal miracle. We go to different various events. We were asked, what have you done there? How come is it so wonderful? How come the projects are so good? Well, it's because we have this ecosystem that really that really emerged from various conditions and work very well together, and that comes with obviously a talented and qualified workforce. So that are some of the very good reasons to work with companies from Montreal. Good to know. Just a couple of little advices or just some ideas that you could keep in mind. Just know that people here from Quebec, we are friendly, we are approachable. We're not like, we don't care much about hierarchy. So I know like with Europeans, sometimes it's a little more complicated on this part. So don't hesitate like on an event or just like through the web to write to someone. It's okay, we are very friendly and really easy to talk to. However, we really focus on results. So we love talking, but only if it leads somewhere. We're not unlike American about this. And so we don't like wasting our time too much. We like when things go through like quite quickly. Obviously, it takes time to make like ambitious projects happen, but still we have to be focused on results. In this optic, like as you may know, to go from Quebec to anywhere else, it takes a while, and it takes a plane most of the time. And so even if we love meeting in person, it's really important that we can work remotely in order to make project progress and to move forward at a faster pace. And one of the interesting things to know is that we have what we love to call a co-opetitive spirit. So that's a merge between competition and cooperation. The enterprises, of course, like they're private enterprises, they pitched against one another on different projects, but they really enjoy working together on projects, and they're really open to that. So if you are interested in working with companies from Montreal, but you hesitate between two, or you would like to join different expertise, don't hesitate to ask. We're really used to construct projects together, like the different enterprises working together in order to make bigger things happen. And that's one of the particularities of this ecosystem. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for listening. And I think Rina was saying, if you have questions, I can take them right now. If not, just write to me later. It's fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen. I have one question. I want to do it quick because we're running late of the time. So what is the new financing that you mentioned, like might come some help Quebec producers to create their own IP?
So it's a financing that comes from la SODEC, which is the, how would I say that in English? Society for Development of Cultural Enterprises, I guess. So, well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it short. SODEC helps all kinds of cultural enterprises, and until very recently, digital experience producers were not recognized as a clientele, like an entire clientele. There was some help available. And in last fall, they launched this program that can help like a limited number of producers, but it's still a 10 million envelope. The ceiling is at 500,000 by enterprise to develop a business strategy over 2 years. So that's the thing. That's for some enterprises that have been scraping like time and money together in order to make projects happen for so long. They can take a breather, take a step back, and like really focus on innovating And that's really, really important for our companies.
Thank you so much for your answer. And I will share your presentation later to all the participants.
Please, and don't, like, my contact info is at the end, so please don't hesitate to reach out directly to me. I would be happy to answer all your questions if you have any. And I have to go now, so thank you for the opportunity.
Don't worry. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye. Ariane Dagenet-Plante, now is your time. So Ariane Dagenet-Plante is Advisor Production Services at Quebec Film and Television Council. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Reina. Thank you for inviting us today. So yes, I work for the Quebec Film and Television Council, which is based in Montreal. So I'm trying to share the our presentation. Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. So the Quebec Film and Television Council is a non-profit organization. So our mission is to contribute to the growth of the industry and to make Quebec shine as a international destination for audiovisual production. And by audiovisual, we're overseeing all filming, VFX services, animation, post-production, music scoring, virtual reality, and augmented reality. So that's like the services we are working around, let's say. So the QFTC is created in two different axes of activity. So one is the film commission services. So the team is promoting Quebec and all the services possible within the province. So the infrastructure, the workforce, the stages, the diversity, the locations. So promoting all this, what we can do, and helping maybe foreign producers finding right partners within the province. And the other area, the other axis is the cluster of the audiovisual sector, which means a cluster is the place where the industry can gather together in order to discuss precise topics of the industry, always in order to maintain the growth of the industry, the health of the industry. So the cluster organize different committee in order to address specific topics with the members that want to be involved in those specific topics. So just an overview of the province of Quebec in the audiovisual industry. So for last year, we're talking about a $2.3 billion spent in the province. In this amount, 1.6 is really for production services, so filming from foreign production, animation services, and VFX services also. You can see that VFX is a really big part of this industry. We are very strong right now. So we're talking about almost $1 billion spent here for VFX, for 247 million for animation, and we're stable on the filming side, so for about 400 million per year. Last year was a very particular year, where you may probably know there was some strikes in the United States, and because of our geographical position, like our most clients are really from the United States. So probably the effect of those strikes will be reflected next year, well, this year in 2024. We'll see about this. And the jobs related to this sector, so direct and indirect, we're talking about now 57,000 workers in this industry. So just to get, so you figure it out a little more about the cluster. So we're working with all really different parts of the industry. So we are also, let's say, the voice from the industry to the government. So the industry can talk to one voice. So if we have precise requests, the members pass through the QFTC. So we're working with all the companies and that offers different types of services related to production in the province. So consultants in financial institution, we're working with the schools also for training, and other collaborating institutions such as Extend Quebec. So we know them very well. So where I was talking about different committees is that we're addressing like different pan of the industry just to oversee them all and be working to develop all these sectors with the person or companies that want to make it grow too. So intellectual property, VFX and animation, tax incentives, the live action side, the Rolling Ring Initiative, development of markets, and innovation, of course. On the production services side, so the film commission, so of course we are promoting what the province has to offer in terms of services and expertise. So the studios, the crafting crews people, the talent, and the VFX and animation also expertise. So just to figure out, we here in Montreal, mostly there are two major vendors for stages. So there's Mel's and Grande. What the clients really like about those studios is that they're nearby downtown Montreal. So like 7 minutes away from downtown, 25 minutes from the airport. So this is not eccentric. It's really downtown Montreal. So for the actors, for the crew, and for everyone, it's really convenient to work into those facilities. Also, Mel's offers the the virtual stage, production stage. It's permanent, and that just the lead wall just got higher with a big US production at the moment. So this is great news for technology. So for the filming location environment, well, of course we have 4 seasons. So winter with real snow and really warm, sunny summer also are available in the province. And we have like, this is really a few types of paysage landscape we have here in the province of Quebec. So also in Quebec, all the productions are unionized. So those are the main unions and guilds that you would be working with in Quebec for actors or for technician, directors and producers. About tax incentives, we just have this bonification announced last March. So for the production services, we're having a 25% all spend. So which means that all expenditures made in the province of Quebec are eligible to this 25% cash back. There's an uplift also for the VFX and green screen animation for on the labor side. So you can get between 22% to 43% because I just skipped the federal part, but the federal offers also 16% on labor, but grinded down by what you've received from the Quebec side, the provincial side. So we say we can go up to 43%. As you can see, there's a mention that regulation will change as of May 31st. This is not regarding the bonus of the 20% all spend. It's just because at the moment, the government changed for the VFX and animation, adding a cap to the value of the contract, because prior we had the value of the contract was 100% eligible to this tax incentive, and now there's a cap at 65% of the value of the contract specifically for VFX and animation that we're trying to get rid of or push back. So it's not being applying this Friday, but later this year, and we're trying to change it the way they reformulated it recently. So as a film commission, it's really, we're doing mostly the same type of promotion and facilitating accessing the information and getting people in touch with one another. So we organize fam tours every year. We support with scouting. So if you're looking for a scout well, of course, we do have our digital library to find locations available in the province of Quebec as a reference. So this photo gallery is about 6,000 locations available. And we also offer the service to create a specific album for your project with your script, so you can see, oh, could it fit or not. So that's what we're trying to facilitate here. So there's other film commission across the province that we're working with. And when there is no film commission in the region, well, the QFTC tries to facilitate to get in touch with whatever you may need for your project. So this is a couple of examples of recent shootings that have been done in the past last year. So TV series and movies. And we do have a sustainable program, which is different from the rest of the Canada because we have accreditation for level that you can get for your production. So there's 3 levels, and depending on how you can like try to reduce your impact, your environmental impact with your production, well, you can get highest to the excellence level. So that's it. And in my in the presentation that will be sent over by Reina, there's the video we recently did to present like the promotion of the industry in Quebec.
Thank you so much, Ariane, for this valuable information. I don't see any questions, so we can move on to the next section. So I would now like to invite the Consul, Head Office, and Senior Trade Commissioner in Guadalajara, Mr. Frank Lee, to give us an overview of business culture in the 2 cities. Mr. Frank Lee.
Well, merci beaucoup, Reina. That was wonderful just to hear that presentation from Ariane. Brings back a lot of fond memories of Montréal and Quebec. And I hadn't realized that Jack Ryan, I think, was among the episodes that was filmed there. So, really interesting for me. Bonjour à tous et toutes. Merci pour votre collaboration et participation ce matin avec nous. Buenos días a todas y todos. Es un gusto verlos a través de Guadalajara, de Ciudad de México, Montréal y Quebec. I'm also joined here by 2 other federal colleagues. There's Ernesto Miranda, who's based out of the embassy in Mexico City and who covers creative industries and who's a tremendous resource when it comes to anything having to do with creative industries. And there's also Fernando Baño, who's our technology specialist and who's been actually, I believe, the longest serving trade commissioner that we have across the Mexico network, and who's also based with me at the Consulate of Canada in Guadalajara. So it's exciting. This is fantastic just to hear and see and just to be able to experience some of these wonderful presentations. And certainly we have these testimonials coming up. And then also just a quick note just around receiving the Montreal delegation last fall, along with Paul Thomas and a couple of others from the screen here. Wonderful to receive some of you, and hoping that we'll be able to see more of you here on the ground in Guadalajara and elsewhere across Mexico in the coming months. Maybe just one thing to quickly mention is just to touch on the tremendous synergies that you've already heard from the other speakers in terms of between Montréal, between Guadalajara, between Quebec and Jalisco. And so certainly we're here collectively. We have Paul Thomas, certainly Paul Thomas and his team based at the Délégation du Québec in Mexico City. We have the Canadian Embassy literally just down the road from them. And then we have a team here at the Consulate in Guadalajara, and then another team based at the Consulate General in Monterrey. So very quickly, because I know I have not 30 minutes, but 3 minutes, or probably 2.5 minutes by now, I'm just going to give you just some insights just in terms of some of the perspectives that I've picked up on after being here for a couple of years now. The first is leveraging existing contacts. And this is it. You've got this wonderful group of 70, 80 something participants right now on both sides of the coin across Montréal and Quebec, here in Guadalajara, and elsewhere across Mexico. These are going to be vital connections for you to be able to create the synergies, pursue some of the opportunities, and really get a better sense of how you can create successful commercial opportunities for yourselves. I think it was Danielle and or Alfonso had a couple of interesting questions earlier, just in terms of how they might be able to leverage some of the existing contacts and learn a little bit more. Certainly, you have the Jalisco and Guadalajara ecosystem that we've already heard from some of the representatives, and then feel free certainly to reach out to Paul Thomas, to Fernando, and to Ernesto and myself for additional views. And that's really why we're here on the ground working with our Mexican partners. The second point is FaceTime on the ground. And this is pre-Facebook FaceTime, as in create and cultivate your relationships. Wonderful to see some of you actually here on the ground as part of the Montreal mission. There's always other missions, two-way missions that are developing. Take the time and effort to develop some of these relationships through spending time here in Guadalajara and developing these relationships on a personal level. The next point is around follow-up. This is something that I think is absolutely critical, and something that I think too often Canadian clients, for whatever reason, are just unable to do so. And just to put ourselves out there on behalf of at least my team, and I think for Paul Thomas as well, let us know how things are coming along and how we might be able to contribute to your efforts in terms of developing these relationships and continuing them to develop commercial opportunities. The second last point is around local representation, something that we've seen value in spades in terms of having a local representative once you've established that initial relationship, but finding a trusted local partner who literally and figuratively speaks the language, understands the culture, and can represent your interests. And then the final point is just around perseverance. I think unlike in maybe other markets, let's say in the United States or Europe, I haven't seen as much of these one-off deals and where things continue. It really necessitates a willingness and a commitment to a longer term, a midterm and a longer term engagement and strategy. And again, just to make a plug again for the resource that you have here across Jalisco, across Guadalajara, and then again, Paul Thomas, Ernesto and Miranda at the Embassy of Canada, and then Fernando Baños and myself here in Guadalajara. So I think that was around maybe 2.5 minutes, and but happy to take any questions. Merci. Gracias a todos.
Thank you so much, Mr. Consuli. I would like now to invite some companies of Guadalajara to give their testimonies. So let's start with Angélica Lares, General Director del Taller del Chucho. Angélica, are you there?
Yes, hi, how are you? Thank you for having me here. I'm very happy to be with all of you guys. So yes, we are a very young company. We started in 2021 we were the second unit of Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's film that was world renowned. And from there, we started working on different projects. We are working in co-productions with different countries. We've been working with Brazil. We've been working with Spain. And we have been trying to work with Canada, specifically Toronto. We have been doing some endeavors there. And yeah, the experience has been great. I know that we have a treaty, and that's why we have been focusing on trying to get projects done there. How we have been working is that we have found to do the production here in Guadalajara and post-production services in Canada. That's the way that we have been thinking about working with you guys. So we are very interested in getting these types of conversations going. Since we have here in Jalisco, as my colleagues have already mentioned, we have cash rebates, we have incentives, and then we have the federal funds that are not as big as they used to be, but there's still things that we can put on the table to do co-productions here. And of course, we are also always interested in being able to provide services. So having said that, I'm going to share a small reel that we have of our company, and then I don't know if we have time for a presentation, or if not, we can move on. So let me share the screen. Okay. Let me know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so hold on. Can you hear it? No. There.
No.
I hate being dead. Oh, now you did it. What's that?
Okay, and now I would like to share a small presentation that I prepared. Can you still see the screen? Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry. Okay, so as I mentioned, this studio was founded in 2021. We started with this project with Pinocchio's film, and the objective is to be an ecosystem created to consolidate audiovisual animation in Mexico. Do you guys hear like music, or is it just me? No, okay, perfect, thank you. Our mission is to produce audiovisual projects that essentially we are very much focused on stop motion. We have been moving.
Present my daughter.
Now we hear.
I know, but that's, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Okay, sorry, it was something else. Okay, so yes. This space is a very large space. It's divided into 3 large areas. We have 3 forums, Mora, Staravix, and Harryhausen, which are forums that are 20 times 40 square meters. We can use them to have simultaneous productions. We can have up to through 2 features or series that we're working right now, but services. So it's very modular. We can do a lot of things in these forums. Also, there's an area called workshops. In these spaces, we can create the whole pipeline of animation from development all the way to post-production. That's that we can do here in the workshops. We have wood shop, we have metals to build the structures, we have painting, all the pipeline to create stop motion material. This is a little bit of the infrastructure plane. So it's a space, it's a pretty large space. It's 7,000 square meters. And this is also something that I want to mention.
I'm sorry, but we don't see your presentation right now. Are you trying to show? No, we only see the video.
Oh, how strange. Okay, so maybe I should just take it off and stop sharing. Okay, so Jaya, you can share the presentation with them if you want. So basically, we're a very large studio that we're looking to co-produce. We're doing our own productions and we are looking for services. And we also have a strategic section that focuses on creating or on training new young talent. We have been doing this by the hand of Quetzijal with Dr. Francisco Medina. We started this program 2 years ago, and now we have a residency. We're about to launch a new course in post-production with the hand of Pole Art Studio, which is a very important studio here in Guadalajara as well. And I think that's about it. I think my time's up.
Thank you so much, Angelica, for your sharing. Now is the time of Oscar Ramirez Gonzalez, producer and director of Arte Mecánica. Oscar?
Hi, everyone. I'm here. Nice to meet you all. Well, my name is Oscar Ramirez. I'm going to try to be really quick because we're a bit late. My name is Oscar Ramirez. I'm a producer. I entered the industry on 1995, so it's almost 30 years doing this. I founded a production company called Arte Mecánica in 2003. With this company, we've produced 22 feature films, both documentary and feature films, fiction films. Mostly our focus is on producing art house films. So, but on the last couple of years, we've been doing a couple of things that are more audience oriented. I had the pleasure of visiting Montreal in 2009 when Cine invited a group of producers, and I could see how it was working, and now I see the difference between then and now, and it's been of great support. And I must say that somehow I feel that the same thing is happening with Guadalajara, because Guadalajara is just starting to grow in a very fast pace. So I find this a very interesting collaboration. Actually, I've already co-produced with Samuel Gagnon of Objective 9. I think he's around here. We made a collaboration on a series of short films that we shot all around the world. So I've also had the experience to do things, to work with Montreal. I am the founder of an association of producers from Mexico called the Union of Producers. I am also part of Canacine Jalisco, which is the chamber of cinema business in the state. And I'm part of a school in Guadalajara, Centro de Estudios Cinematográficos. So I'm kind of covering many things. One thing very important to the things that I want to present to our friends in Quebec is that I am not from Jalisco. I've been living here for the last 6 years. I am from Mexico City. So my perspective is of someone who arrived to Jalisco from the city where most of the films are produced, from Mexico City. Okay, so I shall begin with this. Mexico City has around 70% of all audiovisual production of the country. So everything is very, very concentrated there. When I moved to Jalisco, certain things, the government was beginning to do certain things that were improving the production of films. But the last couple of years, with the effort that Jorge has made regarding the cash rebate, everything has exploded. And now, actually, there's many people that are finding more jobs here in Guadalajara than in Mexico. So it's a very, very interesting moment to collaborate with Jalisco. Guadalajara has around between 15 and 20% of all audiovisual production from all the country. So it's a fairly good percentage, and it's becoming a really healthy industry. One advantage of collaborating with Jalisco is that we have access not only to the federal funds, but also to the local funds, which not everyone else, not the producers from the rest of the country has. We have this federal funding, Eficine and Focine, which might not be a good collaboration fund with Montreal, but we have Eficine, which is a healthy fund that produces a lot of films. This is on the federal part. But now in Jalisco, we have Fondo Semilla, which Jorge talked about before, and the cash rebate, which I'm going to talk a bit later on the importance of this fund. So I see for the people in Quebec, I think there is two ways to approach to the production in Jalisco. One is looking for co-production, for formal co-productions, which we know it takes a lot of time, but in Jalisco there are good producers who can apply to both federal funds and then to local funds, so that we can participate with a higher percentage on formal co-production. And the other is obviously by providing services to companies who come to Jalisco to film whatever. A lot of commercials, advertisement is shot in the state, but also fiction films. Right now, there's an important film director shooting a film that is located in LA in 1926 or something like that, and it's going to be shot in downtown Guadalajara. So there's the capability to do this kind of adaptations and to use the city to portray, to host bigger productions and to portray some other places. So it's a very capable industry right now. I also need to say that the production services, obviously, because of these percentages that I've already mentioned, Guadalajara has all equipment and all people that you may need, but sometimes because more productions are coming, sometimes we may lack certain equipment or personnel. So this is easily resolved by bringing it from Mexico City. So there's basically no, how do you say this in English? Cuello de botella. I can't remember the word, but there's no problem on more productions coming, because if it's needed, we can bring people or equipment from Mexico City, which is a 6-hour drive or 8-hour drive for equipment. I also need to say that on post-production, well, I'm not going to talk too much because Franz is going to talk after me, but post-production is a very interesting part, because the companies in Mexico can provide production services, post-production services at a really competitive price, and they are really, really high quality. So I think there is on post-production, there's a very interesting route for people to co-produce or to access to services in high quality, but in a very competitive price. Okay, about the production crews, we have everyone to make anything that you need to do in Jalisco, but some suggestion in case somebody has something or is thinking to come soon to Jalisco is the programming, to make it with enough time to let people know. I think the biggest mistake to do is to try to shoot soon in Jalisco. The most preparation is the better. It's just a personal recommendation as someone who comes from a city where you can just ask for something and it happens. On Jalisco, that happens, but needs to be calendarized a bit longer. Okay, so just a quick resume of this. I think it's the correct time to film in Guadalajara. We have all the complete crews, cast, equipment. There's a lot of talent in regarding cast. I'm really surprised about this. There are really, it is really easy to shoot in the city or anywhere in the state. It's nothing compared like to Mexico City. Mexico City, because of this concentration of production, is becoming harder to shoot in there. So people is coming to Jalisco because it's really easy. The city is very friendly. The people is amazed by seeing production crews, not like Mexico City that everyone wants you to just leave. As soon as they see a film crew, they want to take them out of their places. We have lots of locations. Jorge already talked about this. We have desert, sea, mountains, everything that can be found in a really, in a couple of hours to Guadalajara, which is the biggest city, and the importance of cash rebate. Cash rebate has been an incredibly important element to support the production in Mexico. If anyone has any doubts, you can contact Jorge on the government side, or if you want the producer view, I'm here to answer any of your questions. My time is up.
Exactly. Thank you so much,
I wanted to mimic, if you give me 30 seconds, I wanted to mimic something I just said, the good to know things about the cultural differences, because I think this is very important. First thing, Mexicans are friendly, for some cultures, too friendly. Okay, so sometimes you need to, and in Guadalajara more, I mean, sometimes you need to say, please tell me what is happening. Don't tell me everything is fine. You know, we need to be particularly focused on that. We are mostly people-oriented and experience-oriented. Okay, so about what they say about the results-oriented, I think we are more about the experience and being happy. As you may know, we are the happiest country in the world. I don't know who said that, but they said. We are really hard workers, really, really hard workers, so you won't fight with that. And finally, the cultural differences, I think they can be easily solved. And I must say that I find less difference between Montreal and Mexico and Guadalajara than between Mexico and the rest of Canada. I think we resonate better with Quebec. And that's it. I'm open to any question that you may do. At the end, I understand.
Thank you so much, Oscar. And if you're okay, I can share your contact details with all the participants. Is it okay with you?
Yes, of course. And I'm more than open to answer any question.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, let's have Franz Novotny, Creative and Executive Director of J-Color Studios. Franz?
Hi to everyone. Good morning. Well, I'm pretty excited about this relationship because I know Jalisco has a lot of similarities to what you have been doing these past years, and the growth in your industry. In my side of the post-production and visual effects, I've seen it grow for the past 15 years, like a lot. And I think we have a lot to learn from your public policies and everything you've done to grow it. And I think it's weird because you might think that Jalisco is like a newborn industry, or as you hear us, but the truth is that Mexico as a country is not newborn. It has like a big industry, film industry and advertising industry and creative industry for many, many years. And Jalisco for now has been working as like a training school for this Mexican industry and for international industry. Actually, I've been working here for 18 years, and we have been like exporting talent to Canada and to many other countries from here. So every time I work in a new project, I have to train new people because everyone migrated to Canada in the project after. So I think we've been collaborating with your industry in the past years, and I feel really proud about that, because I think all that people are gonna come back soon and that's why I see Jalisco as a already formed industry that just have to join all the pieces together. And we, for sure, if we get these people back, we can still continue training people for your industry and work, keep working together. So I think that's what's naturally is going to happen, because I know a lot of visual effects artists that are working over there and they want to come back. But I know also a lot of visual effects artists here that want to come and work with you over there. So I think that's going to be natural. And I think like the natural growth of a company that starts giving services to the industry is we first build a services company, and then we want to create IP, as I heard from you also. And that's also for the state, I think. I think the state has to develop first all the services, and all the companies are going to grow in that matter. And then we're going to start thinking about creating IP. But I think Guadalajara has a great opportunity to start collaborating with you, creating IP, because when I see your locations, when I see your culture, your stories, we have a completely different locations here. We have completely different culture, stories. So if we collaborate together, I think we can create like way better IP than many countries that are providing all that movies and video games and digital installations and all that that you mentioned. So I think we can learn a lot from you. The growth from Jalisco is going to be very, very quick. So as Francisco said before, Jalisco has already a huge industry in IT and software development. And that industry, the growth of that industry almost began when I just came to Jalisco, and I saw in 5 years and 10 years, that exponential growth happened really, really fast. And I'm sure that's going to happen here with all the post-production services first. But I think we're going to create IP from the beginning because we already have all that creative team that is just all around the world, and we have to bring them back and keep training more people here. So in Jalisco, the thing is, because of that Mexico City has been where all the industry has been concentrated the past years until now, that the government of Jalisco and all companies are doing this effort to take advantage of this huge opportunity that the VOD gave us for the market growth. And obviously, Mexico City couldn't stand that growth and keep it inside. So we're taking advantage of that, and we're going to grow really, really fast with your help. I think we can both benefit together. And because of that, we've concentrated more in quality than in quantity, because we didn't have enough jobs to work on volume and like big services. So all the companies you will find here in Jalisco of production and post-production, you will find like great quality here. So, but we're preparing to the volume also. So I think we have a great opportunity. I would love our industry to grow not only in services, but in IP creation. So I think that's something we can work together for sure. And also responding to Daniel for his earlier question, I think we don't have many digital installation for entertainment or museums or stuff here, and that also creates a business opportunity here, because when we had the like the projection mapping boom here in Jalisco, everyone bought it, you know, and we had a lot of projection mapping happening here, and I'm sure that if we bring your services here for all this digital installation, you're gonna have a lot of clients here in Guadalajara, because we need that kind of entertaining also.
I think the time is up. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Franz. I don't know if you want to add something else, but we need to
That's
move.
it.
Okay, so
Ready
thank
for
you again,
questions.
Angelica, Oscar, and Franz, for your participation. I would like to invite some companies of Montreal to give their testimonies. So if we can make it faster, please, because time is running. Guillaume Blais, General Director of Creation at Prodigy. It's time for you to take the floor.
Thank you, Rena. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Rena, for this invitation. My name is Guillaume Blais, and I've been a circus artist for 20 years now, and I'm doing my fourth production with Cirque du Soleil. I've been also the founder of Le Monastère, a circus cabaret downtown Montreal, in a church that I converted into a venue, and I was also for 7 years the artistic director. And I am now opening a second company called Prodigy, that we specialize also in circus productions. So Rena invited me today to talk about my experience with Mexico, my love affair. So last year I was living for almost a year in Mexico City, where I was working with OCESA. And it was definitely like an adaptation of like culture, but Mexico City for me was like, it's like a big chaos, but organized that somehow it works. And I just like fell in love with the city and the country. And I decided like to start a new project in collaboration with a local producer in Mexico. And so I wrote a show about Mexico City, and we're gonna co-produce the show with Mejor Teatro, with Maurice Gilbert, if anyone knows him. And then we do a circus show mixed with multimedia in an immersive show. So that's the idea. In my experience in Mexico, I actually met Rena at the delegation of Quebec in Mexico City. When Valérie Plante came, and we had like a meeting with the delegation, and it was actually a really good trip. And I also strongly suggest for people who never like been in touch with the delegation of Quebec. From my experience, I think the one in Mexico is like one of the best that I've noticed. I think they're like very proactive, and they are definitely like someone that you should reach out if you have like a project that you want to export to Mexico. They've been like very supportive and like giving a lot of help and advice. So the question of Rena was like, what are the negative and positive aspects of my experience in Mexico? I think for me, I do not pretend to hold the truth. This is just my personal experience, and I guess everyone might be different. But something I noticed with Mexico, I really enjoyed that. I think this is like, I think it's Oscar who mentioned it earlier. I think this is more about like the human and how we can connect with people rather than just like being in a production mood. And definitely for the negative part, like this is very nice to have those connections, but I think for the negative aspect, it just takes a bit longer sometimes to go ahead with a project and bring it on the table. With that said, I think also when Mexican or take a decision, like they're making things happen like tomorrow. So on a parallel, I think for the Canadian, this is a bit like destabilizant, like a bit confusing because we're used like to be very prepared. But yeah, so I think my recommendation for production is really like to like be patient and very to get ready on the side just for when it's gonna happen, so you can just like seize that opportunity and, excuse for my French, but get the shit done, because that's gonna happen very quick at the end. And I think that's what I noticed. And my last recommendation, I think that would be to, if you have a project or an intention to start a collaboration in Mexico, I would say you should just start sooner than later, because it's gonna take a little more time that I think than what we are used to in Quebec. So that's it. I hope I made that happen in less than 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Guillaume, for your participation and for giving these tips. So now let's give the floor to the next participant, Alfonso Hernandez, connector of words and co-founder of Atypic Labs. Alfonso.
Hi, thank you very much, Reina. I'll try my best to stay within the 5 minutes and also not to speak too fast because I tend to speak too fast when I'm nervous. So hi, everyone. This is Alfonso Hernandez from Atypic Labs. This is a very interesting situation for me because I am coming here both as a Quebecer and as a Tapatio from Guadalajara. For those who don't know, Tapatio is how you call people from Guadalajara, which is weird, but bear with me. I was born and raised in Guadalajara. I made my studies over there. And then I moved to Montreal like 15 years ago. I was doing in Guadalajara electronic engineering. I wanted to create robots and creative stuff. And then at that time, realized like, yeah, it was mostly manufacturing in that sector. I mean, I'm exaggerating because this innovation was starting to raise. But last summer, I went to, spring, I went to Guadalajara with the trade mission, which some of you guys were also there. And it just blew my mind to see how Guadalajara has changed so much in terms of the creative industries. It's really refreshing, and I'm feeling really excited about how these bridges could be built between Guadalajara and Montreal. I see a lot of the potential with my two kind of hats that I have, like my Mexican hat and my Quebecer Montrealer side. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to see what are the possibilities that could be done. So I'll try to share my screen real quick to explain you a little bit what we do at Atypic Labs. And this tends to be the non-very glorious kind of clumsy moment of sharing the screen. Try my best. I think that's kind of happening. Yeah, is that happening? Can people nod if they see the screen moving with video?
It's working.
Okay. Yeah, oh, well, that was almost faster than expected. So Atypic Labs, we build like interactive installations with technology, but in the end of the day, it comes down to giving people permission to play, to feel, to explore, and to almost do a journey within. So it's about the human experiential journey and how do you do the experience design to make people feel things, to be moved, to be transformed, to give themselves permissions to create, to be playful, to be silly, you know? And then tech is a vehicle that we love doing, and my geek side rejoices, although it's not the objective. It's just like the one of the sauces that we use for this. And then, you know, I'm gonna just go really quick with these. We do experience design, creative direction, sometimes for events, sometimes for museums, things like that. So from the concept to all the way to the deliver as a turnkey or working more in the creative direction. I love doing interactive installations, especially when I can bring playfulness from people and creativity. So there's different playgrounds for this. So, well, of course, like the more corporate trade show marketing stuff. Then, you know, also like multimedia shows for corporate events and stuff like that, which are also fun. But especially, I mean, I love museums. Museums are really fun because you can really liberate your inner child. And in the events, I'm bringing these because this is going to be connected at some point. I was very frustrated during the pandemic about the impossibility to create connections and to create playgrounds. So we ended up creating a platform that to recreate this online, although that sounds impossible. I'll share a little bit how we did it. And this is actually the event that's happening tonight that happened a few years ago, and in our platform that is like one of the most important events of creativity here in Quebec. I'll come back to that in a second, and I will explain you why. Right now, what we're doing with Mexico is, well, we're working with a company that is called Sideral, that has a really interesting production and business model. So I won't go too much into details, but we're working on pushing our platform to the future of co-work on a post-pandemic kind of environment where a lot of people want to co-work and you have to choose between being in person and being able to, socialize spontaneous connections, or being at a distance and just having meetings, right? And there's nothing in between. So we're creating that. And we're also working on an application for business tourism, and how do you create spontaneous groups of people that gather around common interests when they're traveling on a congress or business trip. And most importantly, we're working right now on a collaboration with Consejo Promotor that was here earlier from Guadalajara, with Laura. We got a little grant from the Ministère de Relations Internationales, la Francophonie, the Foreign Affairs and Francophonie Minister, to create some event bridging Quebec and Mexico. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about this because, I want to share my experience, but also invite you to participate and tell you what is it about. And this is a telepresence project, but it's the focus is on the presence, because most of the things we do online tend to be very focused on the broadcasting part of things, which means you're sending content, people receive content, and then that's it. But for me, it's the presence part that is missing. And this is the part that was missing a lot for me during the pandemic, is when you go out somewhere, yes, you want to hear the conference, you want to receive some content. You're really there for this. You're really there for connection, chatting. You're meeting your tribe, which in this case is our creative tribe, or whatever kind of congress you're going after. So the thing is, like, how do you make a bunch of people? In this case, we are like, we were like 50, 60, 100 people. Like, we're here, connect with each other. Well, online seems impossible. And the point that was for me key for this is to realize that when 100 people gather, there are not 100 people talking at the same time. You have little bubbles of people talking at the same time, really. So how do we work with these little bubbles without creating a confusing 3D environment? Yeah.
You have a few seconds left. If you can make
I'm getting there.
Thank
so
you.
we're working on a concept for these to create an event where we create the scenography for these to happen in 2 events connected between Mexico and Montreal. So we're connecting with portals, and this is something we're working with the Society for Technology and Arts here in Montreal that people in Quebec should know. And we're going to be doing a bridge between Montreal Connect and the Networking Spaces, which is a very important event here on digital creativity and arts, and the Guadalajara Media Arts that we talked about it earlier. And the SAT is contributing on this, that they work mostly with the arts scene. I'm just going to take a few seconds, Reina, to talk about what I see with Guadalajara and Montreal. There is definitely a link in terms of ingenuity and the creativity and how people bring themselves into the world, and there's complementary forces there. And I think, well, some people mentioned already that, but like there's sometimes resources here in Quebec that are interesting. And yeah, in Guadalajara, I'm feeling there's some kind of resourcefulness that is very interesting, where things happen when they have to happen, with sometimes very limited budgets and in a very creative ways. And there is a gap, definitely, in terms of language, culture, and communication styles, although I feel that they're really bridgeable and they're like, they exist, but they're not that big. So I want to find, and the reason why I'm here is, of course, I want to find co-productions and find a way to do services, but I would like also to find ways to do joint ventures with companies in Mexico, both here to bring our stuff to Mexico or bring your stuff to here to Quebec, in terms more of partners. So let's chat later about this, and probably in October in Montreal Connect. Thank you, Reina.
Thank you so much, Alfonso, for your participation. Now let's move to the last one, Daniel Uregi. He's a digital artist and founder at Irregular. Daniel?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. Reina, how long do I have? So I'm not...
I know we are running late, guys.
Yeah, tell me.
We can make it in 3 minutes. It will be
3
great.
minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. Excellent, no problem. So I'll put my timer here. Excellent, let's do this. I want to just show you, I think I'm going to start quickly. I have this for you all. So basically, we are Irregular. We're a digital art studio. And as you saw in my question, we specialize in creating digital artworks for public spaces and immersive spaces. And I think I'm going to use one of my 3 minutes to show you all the projects we did in 2023. I would like you to get from this 1 minute video our style, which is very specific. The fact that we really tour all around the world, and we've done it many times in Mexico and very successfully. Well, the type of work that we do, which is all of it is interactive. So let's look at it and we continue. Can you hear the sound?
No.
No sound? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So basically, yeah. So I hear the track is amazing. So I hope I can distribute this to you. But anyway, yes, exactly. We're looking at sort of interactive pieces that we've done all around the world, from well, a lot of in North America, but also in Colombia. I'm originally from Colombia, so I try to do projects there. And currently, we have 2 projects in Mérida that actually I want to show you a little bit of. But as you can see, we are all about interaction. We're all about creating connections between the most amount of people possible. And the amazing thing about Mexico is that every time that we work there, we need to solve that part. How can we make things that work with the most amount of people? Because, well, there's a lot of Mexicans in town. And so it's always, we always start, when we work in Mexico, we're always we bring the ambition to a next level in terms of amount. And that means also all the technologies that will need to follow that, because in Irregular, we do our own technologies as well. So everything that has to do with tracking technologies. This is an example of a current piece that is currently presented in Mérida. It's a site-specific project that was commissioned by, well, in many ways, but basically right now it's presented in front of, it's called La Penny, which is, used to be a jail, like una penitenciaria in Mérida. And basically what we created here is a piece that allows people to point the flashlight of their phone, pointed to the building, and then we track those lights. And then depending on the proximity of people and the shape that they're forming, we start to trigger constellations. And we were referring to the Mayans and how they were great observers of the skies and everything. So this is one of the things. This one works for 100 people at the same time, and it's very successful. People like it a lot, and it's going to be there until December. This is a little bit, you can see it. My time is up, but sorry, I need 20 seconds more. This is in La Penny. It's okay, Reina? Okay.
Yes.
Because just to finish up, same building, but we got 2 commissions. This one is called The Order of Time, and we wanted to allow people to, with their phones, again, with their flashlights, reveal the portraits of people that had contributed to the history of Mérida. So you're going to see from Mayan emperors to current politicians and actors. And people do it by moving and sort of organizing some tiles that are made of the Mayan numbers, which, if you know them, they're like sort of lines and dots. So when they configure and when they are sort of put in a specific place, you can reveal the portrait. Yeah, this is basically what we do. I will have loved to tell you more about it, but definitely it's all about culture. Our sector, we work a lot with brand collaborations as well, and we create our own technology. So everything that has to do with technology and sort of innovation, we just that's what we do a lot. So please keep us in mind for collaborations in the future. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Daniel. If you want to share to me this presentation, I can share to everyone, and also your contact details if you are okay with.
Yes, please do. This is the video that had no music is the one that I sent you by email yesterday to distribute. So please send it. With music is much better.
I'm gonna do the same thing about Guillaume and Alfonso Hernandez. I'm gonna share your contact details. Since we're running late, we don't have time for some questions. I don't see some questions via the chat. So now I would like to invite the Mr. Deputy Consul General Héctor Huerta Nava to give the closing remarks for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. A lot of regards for a very beautiful and sunny day in Montreal, which we like very much. I would like to thank also my colleague, Consul Tania Lara, who is here with me. I'm in her office, actually, for this opportunity. We have a message from all the participants to this important seminar from Ambassador Victor Treviño, which is our Consul General. He sends a lot of regards, and also he asked me to be with you today to make a few remarks. Basically, that first we would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, the City of Montreal, the Quebec Film and Television Council, as well as the authorities of the City of Guadalajara and the State Government of Jalisco for organizing and participating in this productive meeting to learn more about the opportunities between two of the most dynamic, definitely, cities in North America, which are Montreal and Guadalajara. It is really not a coincidence that some of our most famous Mexican talents in the cinema industry and other industries are from Guadalajara, including the well-known Guillermo del Toro, the actor and film producer Gael Garcia Bernal, even a rock band, Maná, and we have the 2009 Miss Universe, Jimena Navarrete, all of them from Guadalajara, which is, we Mexicans proudly says that Jalisco and Guadalajara is the cradle of the mariachi music and the tequilas and of the margaritas, which is certainly a cultural hub in Latin America, and also ranks second place in Mexico for the audiovisual and film production. I would like also to highlight that the Mexican federal government issue new fiscal policies for 10 strategic industries in our country. And one of those industries is precisely film and audiovisual production. The 2023 decree allow tax deductions of up to 80% in the construction of stages, forums, and photography settings, and also 80% in investments in audio, video, and visual effects, post-production equipment, computer equipment for animation and post-production, as well as for the manufacture of costumes and decorative accessories. Also 83% in investment and equipment for visual, sound, or photographic recording. To the Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan Montreal, we have requested the distribution of this document on the fiscal policies for film and audiovisual industries in order for all the players in the industry here in Montreal to get to know these specific incentives that were enacted by at the federal level in Mexico. For our side, the consulate includes a department for economic and trade promotion section, which is in charge of my colleague, Consul Tania Lara, which can support any inquiry regarding regarding suppliers in Mexico related to the film industry and production. Also, Tania's desk and section can help with to get to know the regulations, send to you the specific regulations for the promotion of the industry, guidance also to find film sets or locations. And as a consulate, and we do that as all the consulates, we process specific visas, specific permits. And in the case of the film industry, we know it's very important to get the necessary permits for the importation of temporary equipment for the film production and for the production of motion pictures. So we can process those kind of permits and visa here at the consulate. We have a document section in the consulate, and we are eager and ready to help you if you channel all these inquiries through Tania's desk. I would like to say that to their cultural value, we are certain in the consulate that the cultural industries of Jalisco and Quebec have a very bright future. We have a small recommendation, which is that you can schedule and you can promote everything related to the industry through a very personal and specific contacts. And in Mexico, we are all crazy with this app, which is called the WhatsApp. So that's why we recommend all the players to communicate in WhatsApp, that I think maybe in Montreal is less in use than in Mexico. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I will say that maybe our counterparts in Montreal can also comment on this. We are sure that there is a very bright future for Montreal and Guadalajara. Tania is also working very hard on the possibility of exploring very soon a direct flight between Guadalajara and Montreal, which will be something very important for the promotion of the film industry and other industries. We already know Guadalajara is a big hub for trade and investment of Mexico, and started as one of the first and pioneer hubs of the connection of Mexico with Asia, for example, with Asia, and we know the city and the state are one of the first states to go abroad and promote the state as a specific destination to find opportunities for several industries. Well, really, thank you for this invitation. We look forward for more exchanges like this. We are ready to support from our side in whatever capacity we can. Congratulations to all of you, and have a wonderful day, and a bientôt o hasta pronto.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Consul General Huerta, for your participation. I would like to take a few seconds to thank Mr. Consul Lee, Mr. Deputy Consul General Huerta, all our panelists and collaborators who made this event possible. We are coming to the end of the webinar. I know that we are running late, but if you want to stay for the networking session, you are more than welcome to stay for 15 minutes. So once again, I would like to thank all of our panelists for their excellent presentations. It was a pleasure having you with us today. Thanks to all participants for joining us today and taking part in these questions periods. And we hope to see you at the networking session, and wishing you all a good day.